Hi everyone, welcome to the Nostalgic Dragon, where I talk about fantasy books, science fiction books, and mythological books. Today is science fiction. It's Christopher Ruocchio, Empire of Silence. This book is part of the Sun Eater series. It's an ongoing series, and I had the privilege to talk to Christopher here on the channel earlier this week. Please watch the video if you haven't done that. I'll put a link in the video below. I started to read the book thanks to a subscriber here on my channel, so thank you very much. It was a good recommendation and I really like this book, and I will tell you why, of course. This book is a space opera. It's set 20,000 years ahead or into the future. It's a galaxy, as Christopher put it, not far, far away. And you will recognize that because there are a lot of culture you will recognize. Ancient mythology from Greece and Rome mostly. Languages, you will recognize different languages, and also philosophers, you will recognize the books from our time. So it's a way to connect the reader with this science fiction world. I think it works, and I really enjoyed that. So it's a lot of mythology, obviously, in this book as well. A lot of fantasy too. Christopher says he deliberately communicates with Dune, and that's interesting, I think. I've started to read Dune. I read the first book, as you know, also a review here on the channel. Is possible to watch if you want to, and I will try to learn more about this world, both Sun Eater and Dune, during the coming year. The main character, his name is Hadrian Marlowe, and he's part of a nobility, a aristocratic family, and he runs away from home for different reasons I will mention soon. But not mention it as much as it spoils anything. And he gets in the middle of a war, and in between, you could say, between an alien race called the Cielcin, which are portrayed as probably the only evil thing in the world, I think, against the empire in this world. That's a very short summary of the plot, and actually everything has happened already, and we know a lot of things because this is Hadrian Marlowe's account. He's looking back on his life, and actually you can read on the here on the back of the book. It says that the galaxy remember him as a hero, the man who burned every last Cielcin from the sky. We also know that he, in the end, gets a very, very bad reputation from some, and from some others not. So this book and this book series is about how he got to this point in life, and how he lived it, what choices did he make, what people did he meet, and so on. So we get experience his life. And Hadrian also mentions in the beginning that there are official accounts of this story, and from my perception, that means that the official accounts maybe are not accurate, or at least he does not agree on the official accounts. So he's written his own account. I think that's a very interesting premise for the book, actually, as a reader. Yeah, the book has been compared to many other books, but I think this is very much its own thing. I think Christopher has his own language. He has a great prose, and you will for sure feel Dune vibes and also Lord of the Ring vibes, but it's not so much that you feel that this is a kind of it's a kind of repetition, or it doesn't stand alone. This stands totally alone, and I was very impressed by this book. As I said, the focus is on Hadrian Marlowe and the noble family which she lives in, and it's also a focus on the society, which is very, very hierarchical, in both a class-based sense, but also in a genetic sense. I think you could say that he has a lot of family issues, a lot of family problems and tensions that you will have the opportunity to read about in this book, that motivates him for doing the choices he will make later in the book. And in general terms, Hadrian is young. I think he's 18 years old. He seems to make a lot of choices that goes against what's expected. He's a kind of rebel, I would say, and especially his father has his life planned for him, but that is not something that he agrees upon. So he tries to follow his own path, but by doing so, he, I think, on the contrary from what's expected, he it doesn't always go well for him. So we have the really nice opportunity to see what can happen with dreams. I like dreams, and I can recognize myself in his story, and I made a lot of personal choices myself in my life that I'm actually very happy about. But so for me, this book was about that I could mirror myself in the book in relation to my own life journey, which I one day maybe will talk about more with you. One thing that I really like with this book is that Hadrian has obviously a reptile brain. He acts from the hip, and he doesn't think always too much. Maybe this is special for the first book, I don't know, because later books he becomes older, we will see. And but I think that makes him very human, I think, and a real person, that he acts from his hip, and his choices that he makes him and us to explore themes like identity and class, and he falls down the ladder in society gradually, so he gets to experience people below the noble classes in different ways. He meets a lot of people, and he actually will fall in love, maybe many times, not sure. And he's sometimes convinced, sometimes disillusioned. He doesn't know what to do, but I think that's part of the charm with the book. The setting itself is, of course, sci-fi, and it's a very beautiful setting. I think you can really feel like you're in this world with can be neon signs, and it can be spaceships and robots and other things you recognize from a sci-fi world. But there are also fantasy aspects. I think especially language is one part which Christopher uses a lot. The language, how to address each other, and also that there are many languages, and Hadrian himself is very skilled in languages. And if you open this book, you will see this. So for me, as a learner of languages, I got drawn into this. What's this? So I want to explain what it is for you, of course. As I said, there are references to this world, especially the Roman world, the Greek world, to a lot of philosophers. There's a religion that we recognize, and I think that's one of the strengths with this book, that we recognize ourselves both in the world, but also I think in Hadrian's journey, because I think Hadrian is a seeker, and we all have something we have searched for in life. Either we have done it or we will. So I think we can learn a lot from Hadrian. So that was some initial thoughts on the book. I will continue to speak with Christopher. I have just started to read his second book in the Sun Eater series. It's Howling Dark. Feels very good so far. Actually, some say that this Empire of Silence is a bit slow. I didn't think so. I really liked it. But then, of course, people say that this is much better. We will see. So that was my thoughts. So if you have thoughts to give me, you can write it below in the comments. And if you haven't watched the conversation with Ruocchio, please do. And if you have questions to Christopher that you want me to ask him, you can write them in the field below as well. So until then, have a nice day. Bye.